Okay, so how do you know if you are a medium? I was supposed to do this video a while ago to answer this question for someone or someone's. And basically, it is through sharing just some things from, I guess, my own life. But basically, number one, know that a medium is not necessarily a psychic, and a psychic is not necessarily a medium. So sometimes people confuse the two and just lump them together. You will hear the term psychic medium, and that's something that is like where you have both abilities, right? But we're only going to touch on being a medium. And a medium, quite frankly, very simply put, it is someone who gives messages, receives messages from, or is able to communicate with, right? The deceased. Okay, so that's exactly what that is. And I would say, like, for those of you that had a strong connection to shows or movies like Ghost Whisperer, Sixth Sense, I'm even getting something like Cold Case, those types of movies and TV shows that you may have been drawn to could very well mean that, it's because you are a medium, or it could mean other things. I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know your life. But definitely, a lot of mediums are kind of attracted or drawn to those types of shows, especially before they really and truly tap into their abilities, because it's kind of like I'm hearing something about soul calling me. Like, I'm hearing actually the song, My Body's Calling. So it's kind of like your soul is trying to call you back home, because I'm getting the sense of, like, for a lot of people, this is an ability that you have carried with you for many lifetimes, right? I'm also hearing the word generations. So I'm also getting the sense of, like, this could be something that is in your family, whether the people in your family, other people in your family talk about it. They may not talk about it. They may shush one another about it. They may pretend like, they're not, or it doesn't exist. But you might kind of remember in your childhood, or even now, like, you might overhear some things, and it's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? I would say, in my family, there are several people that I know that they've had experiences that they are definitely mediums. But they're not going to claim it. They're not going to admit it. They're not going to step into that power whatsoever. And we all have free will. So there's no right and there's no wrong. There's no right or wrong when it comes to that. So because we all have a choice there. Also, I'm being reminded. Okay, so afraid of the dark. So true story. Before my, like, real awakening, because I'm gonna admit, like, I've always known that I've had certain abilities or capabilities, but just, like, really starting, like, my journey, that didn't happen until I was probably I don't know, maybe I was 40. And I will admit, like, I was afraid of the dark up until, like, after my awakening. Okay, don't judge me, don't judge my life, because if you're watching this, you're probably afraid of the dark yourself. Okay, what else? Oh, I'm supposed to share just some things that I have experienced even before the awakening, so to speak. I remember, well, there have been some stories that were told to me that I don't remember from my childhood, about me seeing or communicating with certain spirits or people that were passed over, or, whatever, however you want to call it. I don't even know what to call it. And I feel like I'm rambling, so let me get to the point. There was an instance that I remember myself, that I don't really talk about. I don't tell a lot of people about it, but it was like, when my grandmother passed away. We lived in Texas, and of course, my grandmother lived in Mississippi. And I remember waking up early in the morning. It was probably like 3 o'clock. It was 3:04 to actually be exact. But I woke up, and I remember seeing my grandmother, who didn't travel, by the way. But so I don't know how she would have gotten from Mississippi to Texas, but but because it wasn't her, it was actually her spirit, right? So she was, like, just sitting there, and she was telling me that she loved me, and that she was sorry, and that everything would be okay. And I remember just breaking down in tears. And I cried so much that night that it's interesting because I cried so much that night that when the morning came and my mom actually did tell me that my grandmother had passed away, I didn't have any, like, I was all cried out. Like it was, it was kind of like I had like a alone time to just kind of grieve, right? So I don't know, maybe I needed that. There's another time that I remember I went to Spain, and part of it, like we went on a tour. We would go to all of these castles, and I remember going to on the tour, and a lot of it I didn't really pay attention to, right? But I remember us going into this one area, and it was a mortuary or something like that, but it's inside this building. And when, like I didn't know because I wasn't paying attention, but we walk into this room and I see, like, I don't know, it doesn't even matter how it looks because what really matters is how it felt. And how it felt, or how it made me feel, was I felt sadness. I could hear like crying. I could hear like, why me? I started to hyperventilate. I started to feel anxious. I started to cry because it was a completely like new experience for me, because all of that stuff in my past, like in my childhood, that I would argue probably got me to the point to where I was afraid of the dark for so long. Maybe hearing things or seeing things, or whatever, convincing myself like, no, you're just crazy, or whatever. But I think that was like a point where I was supposed to wake up. But I chose not to, because I wasn't ready. And it's not, again, there's not like a good or a bad when it comes to that. I felt like in that moment, like I was given like, okay, well, she's not ready. And it's like, we're going to spin the block. We're going to come back around. And that's exactly what happened. So, I was like left alone, not disturbed with anything paranormal, so to speak, until I actually had my awakening, or like right before that awakening is when it was just like, girl, you've had enough time. Like, you're like, no, like this is, I'm hearing like it's a part of your contract. Like it was like, we can't stall any longer. And that's kind of the sense that I'm getting. Is there anything else? So those are just some personal stories. So if you've had like some type of experiences that you can't explain, or you don't want to explain, or you don't really want to talk about, and maybe for some of you guys, like if you're clairaudient, you might hear the spirits and not necessarily see them. If you're clairvoyant, you would probably more of like see. I'm not getting the sense of like someone actually just like seeing a person, or like a shadowy figure in front of them, or well, not seeing an actual person in front of them, but seeing maybe like shadows or figures or something like that. I mean, I don't know. But if you have any questions that I can answer, like just put your questions in the comments and I'll try to answer them for you. But that's basically, is there anything else? Okay, I'm going to leave it there. So I hope that this was helpful. I feel like it was mostly me rambling on, but what you gonna do? This is Misty with the Oracle Evolution. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so, so much, and have a beautiful day. Bye now.